I told my daughter that her much older boyfriend is not allowed in our home. This story came July 21st, 2024. My, female 48, husband, male 46, and I have a 20-year-old daughter, Ellie, who is currently on vacation from college. About 5 months or so, Ellie told us that she had a new boyfriend who I will call Tom. Is anyone else like me, extremely nosy on how much older he is? What do you mean by much older? I want to skip ahead, but I'm not going to. I won't do that to you guys. I won't cheat. This came rather out of the blue, as Ellie hadn't mentioned seeing anyone or that she was dating, but both my husband and I were supportive and happy for her. However, Ellie was strangely secretive about the whole situation. Usually, she's an open book, especially with me, and would always share details on her personal life. You ignore this. The broken nail, I know I'm drawing more attention to it, but y'all are gonna catch on, and I'm gonna hear about it. I need a new set. On this occasion, she wouldn't show any pictures, and we knew next to no information about Tom other than that they met at a party through a mutual friend. Ellie spent the past month of her vacation in her college town, and the plan was always for her to come back home this weekend. Ellie asked if she could bring Tom with her for a few days of the trip as they were getting serious, and she wanted him to meet us. Although we mentioned that we knew barely anything about him, Ellie expressed that it would be a surprise and that we would love him. Given he's clearly an important part of our daughter's life, we agreed and said that we look forward to spending the weekend together. Yesterday morning, we went to pick up Ellie and Tom from the airport to drive them to our place, and we were shocked. We knew instantly that Tom was much older than Ellie, and he certainly was not a college student. I was just in a state of surprise, but didn't want to cause a scene, and I told my husband to do the same. We drove home, but it was a frosty journey, which Ellie commented on. When we arrived, my husband point blank asked Tom how old he was. Oh! That was more than I was expecting, but you know what? That was probably a dramatic seagull squeal. You let me know if you squeal. Tom said that he was 44. So Ellie's 20 and he's 44. He could be 54. Perspective. I was immediately disgusted. Guys, also, let me clarify, that was a joke, and this makes me uncomfortable. You know what? Some age gaps, people write in the comments and they're like, I have a 20-year age gap and it worked out for me. Great. I just think about myself at 20. I don't understand what a 44-year-old wants to do with a 20-year-old. That's all. Okay, so I'm making a joke, but I don't like it and it makes me a little bit uncomfortable. But maybe you feel differently and let me know. He is only 2 years younger than my husband and old enough to be Ellie's father. My husband continued to interrogate him, asking how they met and the whole background. Ellie explained that it was at a party and Tom was there because he's well known around town, and they realized they had a lot in common and hit it off from there. I really don't want to hear any more, and my husband told Tom to leave. What do you possibly have in common though? Truly, what do you have in common? A 20-year-old college student with a 44-year-old man. Ooh, we like the same kind of movies. Ooh, riveting. Ellie shouted and said how unfair this was, and we hadn't even given Tom a chance, and that he made her happy. Tom could sense the tension, so he left, and Ellie followed behind him. I texted Ellie to tell her that we would love to see her and to come over to discuss the situation. She asked if Tom was welcome, and I said he wasn't. Therefore, after labeling me a judgmental a-hole, she told me she wasn't coming and that they would be staying at a local hotel and catching up with friends. I feel terrible about the situation, and I don't want to lose my daughter over it. My husband is not budging and says that he would have to be held back if he ever saw that man again. Am I the a-hole for saying he isn't welcome, or have I done the right thing? Calling all parents. I really want to hear from the parent perspective. I can only give the perspective as if I was in that situation as a 20-year-old girl. No, I would not have any interest in a 44-year-old man personally. But as a parent, I can only imagine how difficult that must be. Especially with the perspective that he's only 2 years younger than the girl's father. Surely that's gotta be very uncomfortable for mom and dad. But I want to hear from parents out there. If this was your daughter, like, justified, I'm feeling like this is justified. Let's see what Reddit is saying, because they never hold back. Someone commented and said, not the a-hole, former cop, advocate. I would suggest you don't give her a reason to distance herself further from you and your husband, because Tom needs to stop your support and brainwash her to think you are against her, and you're not. I encourage you to not exclude him. You can get together somewhere public so he's not in your home, but you aren't letting him keep your daughter away while you navigate this precarious situation. I understand that also. You also don't want to push yourself further from her, because that could be dangerous, really. Next comment, not the a-hole. He was at a college party because he's well known around town. That means he's well known for preying on younger women and probably also buying alcohol for underage college students. What was he doing at a college party? Is he a professor? Does he work at the college? Like, what is a 44-year-old man doing at some kind of college party? Next comment, play the long game here. The best story I have heard, the dad befriended the guy. They talked about stuff relevant to their age group, did dad age stuff together, talked about things like insurance and retirement and house payments, went out to eat at grown-up places instead of sports bars, and just generally acted like middle-aged men. She realized that she was basically dating her father, they had almost nothing in common, and they broke up. Ugh, but playing that game would be so difficult. Very different perspectives here. All right, so that's what Reddit is saying. I want to hear from you. We have the first update, which came July 22nd, 2024. I know all of your opinions were quite split, but I appreciate everyone for being honest. I was incredibly down throughout most of Sunday, so I spoke to my husband and said that I really wanted to see Ellie. However, I knew that wouldn't be possible without also seeing Tom, so I mentioned to my husband about meeting Ellie and Tom at a neutral location for brunch today. I asked my husband if he wanted to join, but he said he didn't feel in the right frame of mind at this stage, so we agreed that I would go alone. I was anxious throughout the drive, but when I met Ellie, those nerves subsided relatively quickly. I was generally just happy to see her and that she was well. I still felt a bit uncomfortable around Tom, but I thought that this was the opportunity to find out more about him and his intentions, as it were. We sat down and I tried to find out as much information about Tom as possible. When I asked him to elaborate on being known well around college town and being at the same party as Ellie, Tom said he used to go to the same college when he was Ellie's age, loved the place, and decided to never leave. Throughout his time, he still frequented the main bars and places that college students go to, which meant that he remained in the community in some form. Okay, well, no wonder they have a lot in common. He's acting like a college student still at that age. I found it was a quite unsettling response, but I remained polite. In terms of other details I learned, Tom has never been married, nor does he have any children. He works as a software engineer and enjoys cooking and meditation in his spare time. Something felt off about him, but maybe I already had my preconceptions. Ellie spoke more about what a good match they are and how much in common they had. When I asked her to elaborate, she spoke about how they both love the same spots around town and campus, with apparently the same love for sushi, and she's never met someone so mature and understanding. Tom also said that Ellie was perfect for him and he was serious about it. I probed if he'd had many other relationships with younger women. Ellie did not enjoy this question, but Tom said that he generally didn't do relationships, yet something about Ellie had drawn him in. Eventually, after about 2 hours, we ended the brunch. Ellie said how nice it had been and that she was so happy I had shown interest in Tom before asking whether they could both come to dinner Sunday evening. I told her that would be nice, but I would have to speak to her dad. Tom shook my hand and that was that. My husband remains reluctant, but I feel like it's the right thing to do if we want to maintain a relationship with Ellie. I didn't like Tom off first impressions, and this hasn't done much to convince me. Something is just off there, and some of his answers solidified my thoughts about him not being right for Ellie. I suppose I'll have to remain open-minded, but appreciate any more thoughts. Oh, yeah, I don't feel any better about the situation now that we've learned more. He liked college so much he never left. I don't know, man. I don't know. Oh, I feel like parents out there who are watching me read this are probably just like, I can only imagine how you feel as a parent because I'm tripping out over here. Let's see what people of Reddit are saying now. Someone commented and said, please make sure she's on reliable birth control. Next comment, it would be best to get some background checks done on this man. There could be a lot of lies involved. He sounds sketchy enough already. Next comment, I wonder if you could call the college and ask if he is known there. Maybe get like a gauge on him if he is. Would they get? I don't know. He's like well known around college parties and stuff. I don't know if he's well known like in the registry. Like he's not going to like class. Is he? Is he taking classes there? All this time, 20 years worth of classes? Next comment. I appreciate how hard you both protect your daughter, but at the end of the day, she is an adult and she can't make her own mistakes if she feels pressure from you guys to make decisions. The thing is, if she keeps pushing away because you guys are being reluctant to her to let her be an adult all on her own, she won't come to you when she needs help either. If this guy ends up being a bad guy and she needs someone to be there for her, why would she come to you if she feels as though she's just going to be shamed? I would say an entirely different spiel if she was 16 or 17, but she's an adult in college learning her way around this world, and she's gonna need support in controlling her own life without you directly deciding what she can and can't do. You said she was secretive about it from the jump, and that tells me she knew your reaction. It's time to show her you can be a supportive friend when she needs you instead of an unsupportive parent. This was a good first step. Oh my God. I am unqualified. Take away all the qualifications of me reading this story because all this advice is making me be like, wait, what? What do you do as a parent? What do you do? Awful. My God, parents, you have a lot of hard situations to go through out there and a lot of difficult decisions to make. Which route do you take here? Because I get that perspective as well. You don't want to push her further away. That's also scary. But having him around, also scary. Okay, we have more updates. I clearly need a sip of water because I am losing my mind. Cheers. Truly drink whatever you need. None of my business. I have been trying so hard not to get sick in the last few months, and I have succeeded, okay? I've been on top of my hydration, my vitamins. Some of you suggested I started taking zinc to help my immune system because I'm always sick. And I have succeeded until today. I think the lack of sleep I've had in the last week with the unexpected trip and travels and jet lag and everything, I probably slept 15 hours in the past 7 days. I feel so sick today, like my sinuses, just sinusy. That's it so far. So I'm really hoping. I've done so well in the last few months. So well, so proud of myself. I haven't been sick. The next update came July 29th, 2024. A lot has happened in the past week and enough people asked for an update, so I thought I would provide one. After I came home from brunch, I spoke to my husband about the possibility of Tom and Ellie joining us for dinner one evening. My husband was completely against it, but I told him that if we still wanted to exercise some degree of control over the situation before we push Ellie away entirely, this was something we had to agree to. It took a lot of convincing, but my husband agreed, and we invited Tom and Ellie to come around the Saturday that just passed. Before then, I ended up talking to my oldest daughter and Ellie's sister, Holly, who's 23, about the situation. Holly was shocked and Ellie had told her nothing. Holly decided to do some social media digging, but struggled because Tom didn't have much of an online presence. She said that she was coming to dinner on Saturday, although I was reluctant because it seemed like it would spiral, but I eventually said yes. So we went to get dinner on Saturday and Holly just continually grills Tom. It was far, far worse than I did. Sisters, oh my God, I would do the same. I know my older sister would do the same, 100%. She asked him if younger girls were his type. She asked him why someone his age is still hanging around at college parties, and other small remarks like that. Ellie told her multiple times to leave him alone, and I tried to act as a mediator. My husband was just silently seething, and I could tell how uncomfortable he felt in Tom's presence. Eventually, Tom and Ellie said that they had some big news to share. No, I'm scared. I'm closing my eyes because I don't even want to see. No, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. Ellie announced that she and Tom were planning to move in together for the upcoming college year. I'm not gonna lie, I thought they were gonna say she was pregnant. This is still not great, but I for sure thought it was gonna be a pregnancy. I almost spat out my drink. Ellie had planned to live with other friends, and when I questioned this, Tom answered that he realized that he probably won't have another long-term relationship. Ellie makes him so happy, and he doesn't want to waste any time with who I want to be my wife and the future mother of my children. Oh my gosh, Dad must be losing it. At this point, my husband lost it and told Tom to get out of his house. Tom stood up and seemed affronted, and Ellie started crying. I couldn't remember the last time my husband had shouted like that, and I think it surprised Ellie. Holly said it was deserved and said she needed to get away from that, a word I can't say. You guys know. We'll say creep, but you know what I'm saying. It all ended up with Ellie leaving in tears with Tom, my husband going upstairs, and I was just inconsolable. I've reached out to Ellie since, but she hasn't responded. I don't want her to move in with Tom, and it seems like he's trying to derail his whole life. She's 20 and does not need to be married and having kids, especially with someone his age. She's never had a relationship before though, and she appears infatuated to the extent that she's not going to listen to us. My husband has told me that if Ellie marries Tom, that is it, and he wouldn't want a relationship with her going forward. I can't agree with that, and I will always love Ellie, but it doesn't mean that the whole situation hasn't made me incredibly sad. I would appreciate any advice. Oh, my heart breaks for this is so hard to navigate. I cannot even imagine. We have a final update, and thank God it came 1 year later, August 5th, 2025. So I'm just hoping they're not together. I don't know. It's not sitting right with me. So much has happened since I posted a year ago, and it had been so overwhelming that it caused me to completely forget about this post. However, I stumbled upon this Reddit account earlier today, and due to the amount of messages I received, I feel compelled to share an update. Okay. For those who don't want to read the whole post, the long and the short of it is Ellie is engaged and pregnant. The engagement happened around January, only around a year of dating, and the pregnancy was announced in March. Ellie is keeping the baby and is due later this year. I am still heartbroken and struggling to come to terms with the whole affair. Ellie was so bright, cheery, and with an active social life. Now she lives with Tom in her college town, despite having dropped out of college herself due to the pregnancy, with barely any friends due to most of them distancing themselves from her because of Tom. My husband is also low contact with Ellie and wants nothing to do with Tom, while my daughter Holly also feels the same way and wants nothing to do with Ellie or her baby for as long as she remains with the creep. I still keep in contact with Ellie as much as I can, not only because I love her, but also as I know that if things crumble, she will have no one to turn to. She ostracized herself, which makes me incredibly sad, and I never thought things would turn out this way. There was a glimmer of hope around March time where Ellie called me on the phone in tears after discovering that Tom had cheated on her. Unsurprisingly, with another college student and an even younger one than Ellie. I feel sick. Okay, now I fully understand why parents don't sleep at night. You know, I always thought my mom was being dramatic when she's like, I need to know you got home safe, let me know, I can't sleep. I'm like, you're fine. No. Well, now it's just so endearing that parents care so much. Okay, focus. Although I did try and talk some sense into her, and I figured this would be a wake-up call, she decided to stay with him after a combination of love bombing and finding out that she was pregnant. The wedding has been set for next summer, so the baby can be focused on for now. My husband and my other daughter have already decided they will not go, and many others on my side of the family are also uncomfortable with the idea. I'm trying to stay strong and hope that I will love my grandchild, but this isn't something that will ever get easier. If there are any other groundbreaking updates, I will try to share. If not, I appreciate everyone's support and advice. It really meant more than you know. And we have more comments, but we do not have another update since then, which breaks my heart. This is really sad. Let's see what people are saying. Someone commented and said, I suggest you hire a private investigator to check him out. I think there is a lot more about this guy, and you'll find it if you pay someone. If he cheated once, he'll cheat again. You might see if an investigator can do an electronic check on him as well. If it were my daughter, I would be doing a honey trap and getting lots of photos and recordings. If your daughter realizes he's a serial cheater, she will be more likely to leave a man like that. Make sure you have money set aside to help her get out. Do not send it to her. Buy the tickets. Pay for what she needs directly. Be sure to check grandparent laws in your state. This is a lot more than just like an entertaining story. Next comment, I seriously wonder if he's got exes and kids that he's abandoned or not. No way he is serial targeting young naive women and doesn't have something to find that she doesn't know. She needs info on him, his family, his finances, etc. at any rate, before she ends up entirely isolated and dependent on him and doesn't have any ability to walk away. And leaving before the baby is born and being married is a far, far better chance of being able to pick back up and still have some family support. Oh, this just got increasingly worse. I am stressed and parents, I just want to hug you all. I don't know how you do it. Bless all of you. Every mom and dad out there, my hat goes off to you. Let me know your thoughts on this. This was a wild ride. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. I'll see you in the comment section.